Welcome to the Anti-Fascist School, Coimbatore. The edition here is looking into the controversies centering around the environmental clearance which has been afforded by the Expert Appraisal Committee of the Union Ministry of Environment, Forests and Climate Change for the INO project which is coming up at Theni. We have today Dr.V.T.Padmanabhan, who is Director of Society of Science, Environment and Ethics, who has done a lot of critical study on the safety of nuclear reactors in India, particularly situated at Kudamkulam and Kalpakkam. He has published research articles, more than 50 of them, and it's available in the public domain. He is with us to interact briefly on the pros and cons of this environment clearance given for this INO project. Welcome, sir. This environmental clearance has been accorded almost exactly 1 year after the Green Tribunal of Southern Bench stayed any clearance, and they asked the proponents to go for a fresh proposal and fresh appraisal. This environmental clearance which has been afforded, it has been done with 17 conditions, and we find that 16 of them are related with environment. How do you see this, and what will be the pros and cons?
First of all, the Environmental Appraisal Committee should not have given the clearance for the project. They should have sought this information on the 16 questions they have already asked. Because you give the permission and say that you later on look into all these things, and who will look into it? Will the sanction be revisited? Will they cancel it if these conditions are met? At the same time, the Government of India has given us an opportunity to demand of the project proponents of these studies, which will prove that basically the issue is related to water.
Related to water.
Water. All this ultimately comes to what happens to the water. And the Environmental Appraisal Committee has, unlike the earlier sanction in which nothing was mentioned about water, the Appraisal Committee this time has mentioned that the area is part of the Vaigai river system, and there is apprehension in Tamil Nadu that the source of drinking water in many villages could be lost. Now, this is only partly correct, because the project area is also, affected project area is also partly in Idukki district, and we have got some of the biggest dams in India located there. And at least one dam, Mullaperiyar, is catering to the needs of from 5 to 6 districts of Tamil Nadu. And so all these water bodies could be affected in two ways. One is that the use of explosives, some million kilograms of explosives will be used, can shake the earth and change the course of the streams underground. This exactly happened in a place, Italy, a place called Gran Sasso, where a neutrino observatory like this is located in almost similar ecosystem. Very high rainfall area in mountain, and like Idukki in Kerala, it also had very high rainfall, about 3000 millimeters a year. So over there, what happened was that while the digging was happening, where the tunnel was being made, it ruptured many of the underground streams, and water started flowing to the tunnel. Workers died. Construction work was cancelled for another 1-2 years. And today, a major function of the lab in Gran Sasso is to throw this water out. What happens is that water is not lost. Its original course of flow is changed, and it flows into new directions. The whole problem is that when you are tunneling, it is not just digging a tunnel. There will be hundreds of chemicals are used for repair work and all that. So in the Italian case, they say that the water is unfit for human consumption or even for fish consumption. So they have to detoxify the water and then put it somewhere else. So will this happen in the case of INO? And if it happens in the case of INO, it is like some 8-9 districts of Kerala and Tamil Nadu will be affected. In one way I will say that it is a reversal of Mullaperiyar Penvikyuk, which caused people from dry areas of Tamil Nadu to migrate into the command area of Mullaperiyar and then do their farming and these districts became very major center of growth. Now, if Vaigai river system and the Mullaperiyar dam is damaged because of this, then it's a reverse process in a bigger way, because it is not only 5-6 districts of Tamil Nadu, it will be affected, also this part of Kerala will also be affected. Now, one good thing about this is that the Environmental Appraisal Committee is that they have put certain conditions saying that what has happened in other laboratories abroad and what are the studies conditions they do before digging up such setups in their countries, which means the best practices in the world have to be adopted here. This is what we have also been demanding. I never said that INO should not be there. First of all, let me be very clear about it. I am not against Newtono research. Newtono research is very much part of fundamental science and it has to be done. Indian scientists have to do it in India itself. So there should be an observatory for a huge country like ours. Well, what we have been saying is that when a project like this is being constructed in developed countries, in Europe or Japan or USA, there are certain things which they do. One is that a detailed geotechnical report, which takes about 3 years to complete. It costs about 5% of the total budget. So you spend that money and then bring that detailed project report, which will say this is the impact on aquifer system, this is the impact on dams, this is the impact on settlement, this is the impact on houses here in Theni district, in Idukki district. There are two possibilities which has been underlined in the environmental clearance afforded by the Ministry of Environment recently. That is rock burst. You must realize what is rock burst. Rock burst is not rock burst. Rock burst is a technical term and it means induced seismicity or human-made earthquake. They are saying that the Environmental Appraisal Committee is saying that, not activists, is saying that there is a potential of human-induced earthquake when you are exploding below 1000 meters. 80% of the total area to be carved out is below an overburden of 1000 meters, which means every day when this 80% of the area will be carved out, will be blasted out. 3 blasts a day after every 8 hours. Every one of it is possible to create an earthquake. And what this induced earthquake can do? This induced earthquake can travel up to 30-40 kilometers and then cause damages. The Mullaperiyar dam is just 50 kilometers away from this. Idukki dam, which is sitting on a fault line, is only less than 30 kilometers from this. So these seismic waves, earthquake waves from this rock burst, so-called rock burst, can travel up to the dams and destroy them. These are 2 ways water bodies can be affected in this. And we have published papers in science journals, various other media. They have not replied to it properly.
You have made it very clear that you are not against this research and you are you are for laboratory of this kind, but your objection is with the locale, particular area where the potential damages to the watershed, and it can also cause earthquake because of the very process of that construction. And in that case, if that is the potential danger in the project, how come the environment clearance has been afforded, treating it as B category area?
According the giving the clearance for this project by the Ministry of Environment and Forest, is the Environmental Appraisal Committee is not doing what it is supposed to do. I think they were forced to do that. That is why they had to put these conditions. These conditions should have been laid before granting this thing. Now, who is going to monitor that this condition should be met? You already given clearance to them, and tomorrow they go and say they make some paper and then say that okay, we have done this, we have met these conditions, and we are going to do. And what the government is saying is that we'll go on a war footing. If you read the clearance and the minutes of the meeting, it's very clear that they want it to go slowly, not on a war footing.
See, when the State Expert Appraisal Committee, when they discussed this project at their level, they mentioned that it is not a mere construction. It involves lot of tunneling. It involves excavation of lakhs of cubic meters of rock. They say that Western Ghats is a global biodiversity hotspot, and it is part of the catchment of various streams and streamlets, and as you said, it contributes to the Vaigai watershed, and it is also providing drinking water to 6 of the Tamil Nadu districts. In this background, they say that it's not, we are not competent enough to appraise this, give a clearance, so it has to be referred to the Central Expert Appraisal Committee. Now they have given the clearance, but they have listed the conditions, and as you said, this should have been the proponents should have been made to comply with these conditions, and then the clearance should have been given. But then what is the compulsion for the Expert Appraisal Committee to afford this clearance?
Maybe they have been pressurized. What the Tamil Nadu State Environmental Impact Assessment Authority said was that actually what they said is that this is an unviable.
Non-viable.
No, it's non-viable. This cannot be run here. Rather than saying that, they are now saying this is a biodiversity sport, these are the limitations, and then they just say we can't do it. Please, you do it if you want. Which means that there is some unseen figure somewhere which wants this project to be sanctioned without looking into its safety aspects.
See, among the conditions, one of the conditions says obtain consent from Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board. This project is coming up in the borders of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, and Madikettan Shola Park is just situated less than 5 kilometers away from this project. And how come among the conditionalities the consent of Kerala has not been obtained?
This is also illegal, you see, because one reason the Tamil Nadu State Committee could not give sanction was that this is an interstate project. The border is just a few meters away from the end of the tunnel. Well, I don't know if it will come into the Kerala state also. So this is an interstate project, and it is not only Madikettan Shole. There are two conditions because of which the project had to go to the Ministry of Environment Forest in Delhi. These are being within 5 kilometers of an interstate border and within 5 kilometers of a national park. Now this granting of consent by the central government without consulting the government of Kerala is also illegal. This is an interstate project. Tamil Nadu government has recommended it or whatever it is, has forwarded the application to it. Kerala, government of Kerala does not even know that something like this exists. It's an onslaught on the federal principles of the country. It's something you are going to dig a huge cave, some 500,000 kilograms of explosives will be used exactly on the border of your estate. There are people living on top of the mountains. In Tamil Nadu, nobody is living under the explosion area. It's a slopy hill. But in Kerala, people are living on top. It is not slow. It's a plain ground. Chandanpara is a village, well-developed village, and it's just about a kilometer from less than a kilometer from the cavern. So you are using, and then you have all your structures. You see, you are the one the largest dams. In Kerala, Idukki has got 5 out of 59 major dams which are monitored by the government of India. It's got 1 out of 51 dams which are sensitive to earthquake, which is monitored globally. All these things are happening there, and the government of Kerala, which is the custodian of all these nature properties, dams and water bodies, were not consulted about this. When this kind of huge destructive activity is going to take place there, it's illegal.
It is illegal. Expert appraisal committee, the central expert appraisal committee, they have given the environmental clearance, but the environmental impact assessment and things related to that, has it gone through, or is it waived?
This INO proposal has been mooted in they made this application some 10 years ago or something. Environmental impact assessment has not been done.
It has not been done.
It has not been done. A study about the impact on wildlife, birds and den dwelling animals, some small reptiles, has been made by Salim Ali Foundation. That is not environmental impact assessment. Environmental impact assessment should look at the built-in structures, which should look at the environmental flows, people's houses, cities, towns, and all these things. None of this has been done. It has not done anything about this. This will be the first environmental clearance given by the government of India without making proper assessment. They should have asked these 17 questions to the proponents. Give us your reply about this. What is going to happen about the Vaigai river system? And the questionnaire is not some illiterate person. It is the Environmental Impact Assessment Authority experts of Tamil Nadu state saying, well, we have a river system there, and there are water bodies there, and they have doubt about it. They are not sure whether it will be safe from the tunneling. So instead of saying, give us reply to all these questions we have in our mind, they say, you are given clearance, but you should, but who will look into it? Now it's the question that people have to decide whether because the Ministry of Environment and Forest have just abdicated the responsibility.
Yeah, they have abdicated.
Now they are saying us, you look after yourself. Now we have to see who will look after these interests, these questions. There is no other body as far as environmental clearance is concerned. If it was a local clearance given by the state government, you could have gone to the central government or something. No, there is nobody. Now what they say, the appraisal committee has said, is that now it's for the people to decide. Now we have to demand all these things.
But the Ministry of Environment and Forest, they have categorized this project as the place as category B project,
Yeah.
for which environmental impact assessment is not mandatory.
The environmental impact assessment is not mandatory for a normal category B project, which doesn't involve exploding 50-60,000 cubic meters of rocks using 1,000,000 kilograms of explosives. It doesn't involve work under 1000 meters depth, under densest rock. Charnokite is the densest rock known in the world. This is not a normal category B project. This is an extraordinary project which involves working under great depth. For any other project, you don't need to conduct an impact assessment lasting for 3 years. Even for a nuclear power plant, you don't do that in the world. This project is a tunnel under great depth. This is the definition of this project. A tunnel under the great depth, which means more than 1000 kilometers. And for assessment of this, impact assessment of this, or it's called geotechnical report, it costs about 5% of the total budget. It doesn't cost as much for doing an impact assessment of a nuclear power plant. So this is not you can define it, you see, because this is a unique project. There is nothing like this coming up anywhere in India. So you have to put it somewhere. You can't just say that this is a unique project. There are 10 categories, and you have to put it in one of these categories. Okay, it's an infrastructure project, so put it there. But this kind of infrastructure will never be built in India in the near future, or it's never ever be built everywhere.
Is there any global experience where a similar project which is done under the rocks?
There are, under the rocks, yes, but not similar rocks. You see, limestone is the medium in Italy. All other labs, neutrino labs in the world, except probably Diabe, are located in used mines.
Used mines?
Yeah. So they go up to 1000 meters or to 1500 meters, and then they use that space for building this. So it is rather better usage of space. You don't have to just dig, you just have to make the room. INO had an option to build such a lab in a underground tunnel which is located in Himachal Pradesh. That tunnel is ready, and they can go there also. But all other labs are located either in the sea, where there is no human habitation or nothing you have to see. You just have to go maybe 20-30 meters below the sea and then do that. For neutrino laboratories, there should be 3000 meters of water equivalent between the surface and your monitor, detectors. 3000 meters of water equivalent means about 1200 meters of rock. Sudbury Neutrino Observatory is located in where the Nobel award goes. They are located in deep mines, used mines. Everywhere they are located in deep mines.
Perhaps Kolar goldfields, the abandoned Kolar goldfields would have been an option?
See, Kolar goldfield, the same problem, you see, which we are talking about. Why Kolar goldfield cannot be used? Kolar goldfield, there are space below 2 kilometers or even more. Square kilometers of empty space. Why they can't go there? You also know that Kolar is a very low rainfall area, 700 meters, 700 millimeters or even less than that. But the problem in Kolar gold mines is that there's a lot of water. The labs become uneconomic because pumping out the water, because if you start pumping out water, then water will be coming from the near field. The entire empty space in Kolar is filled with water. All the rain which falls on top of this mine area. This is exactly what we are saying here, it can happen here also. Will it not happen in this case? What is the guarantee?
So what is the way out?
Way out is that, you see, as I said, we have been demanding that do a proper impact assessment, which is called a geotechnical study, with neutral scientists who are not neither against the project nor for the project, scientists who know the subject. The main thing is that the issues we are talking about is not related to particle physics. Neutrino observation is a part of particle physics, which is also called phenomenology. We are talking about mundane things like livelihood, drinking water, and earthquakes, your habit, your houses, farming, people's health. Now, the issue related to livelihood, that is mainly everything can be brought into one, water. That's what everybody is concerned. The villagers who do not know much of the modern science, as well as the critics of the project are concerned. The water is the problem. Now, which expert look into it? It's done by geologists. During the past 5-6 years of this debate about safety, hundreds of scientists have given statements about safety of INO. There's not even a single geologist in there. And you know, some of the best geologists in this country are born in Tamil Nadu or Kerala. The masters among the best geologists who look into hundreds of papers, study hundreds of situations like this are located here.
And no geological opinion has been obtained at all.
No geological opinion has been obtained. And the scientists who are working with the government, they will not give their opinion unless they are asked. They have not signed it. My paper was published in Current Science, whose editor was a geologist. There are well-known geologists who are part of the editorial board. And since I have a label of an activist, they know that, they are not going to, since I don't have a big government or corporate sector laboratory, they would be very careful in publishing my paper, especially which is against a Government of India project. And they would have got it peer reviewed. And I talked to many geologists working in government labs, and they say that it's well known, this is not the place where such a facility can be built.
Anti-Fascist School has brought this to you for your debate, discussion and action. Thank you.